Hello, and welcome back to User Experience Design, Understanding Users in Business. As we start out section 4, User Experience Requirements, we're going to break into a couple things. So let's chat about what is made up in this series of videos. We're going to review a couple of topics. The first topic is what and how UX pays attention to business requirements. The second is we're going to build a way at which to capture requirements through a requirements matrix. And then we'll write some UX scenarios that fit into those requirements. And the last thing that we'll cover is how our requirements should capture the technology and the interaction. So let's get started. Define business requirements, getting specific about what is required by the business. In this video, we're going to really spend some time talking about what is a business requirement and how UX can influence how businesses think, why UX defines requirements, and how UX can lead to clear problem solving. We'll explore a business requirement and get excited about the rest of this section. So we've been talking more about why UX is related to or associated under the business output, right? And understanding the business side of the three prongs of technology, users, and business is really about trying to understand how we go about communicating with our businesses, but then also making sure that we're answering the right problems, getting what we think the business needs to do, and seeing where that overlap between users and business exists. Now, business requirements are critical activities of a business that must be performed to meet organizational objectives, right? That's just saying that businesses have goals to meet, and we want to make sure that what we're designing in our solutions maintains those outputs. Now, high-level business requirements sometimes come directly from there, but they can also actually lead to things like functional requirements, non-functional requirements, and use cases. And we'll go over some of these things as we review this section. Most of the time, requirement gathering is about understanding what is going to be made. And that can be associated in the UX world really around the product, right? Is it a website? Is it an app? And websites can be complex things, right? When defining requirements, it's key to understand that there's many options that make up a website, whether it's a forum or a blog or a search engine, or it shows content like images and video, or it's news, or it's all of these things combined all in the same context on the same page. Now for us, business requirements are really helping us define the why of what you're trying to make, right? You work with your stakeholders, you have your business to understand, you're trying to create ideas that are meaningful and lasting. And by relating what that is from your business, you then can construct and design solutions that are meaningful, that have output, and that drive business success. When we help in the definition phase, UX really starts to cement why thinking about ideas early and how you solve them is really valuable. Most of the times, this is something that's done in conjunction with a business analyst or someone else on the business side, but UX wants to be involved in seeing or helping even create the business requirements document, as we can then create less noise, have less conversation about things that are hard to make functional requirements. But we also can support our users in building great software, and where we can build trust around these things can lead to more money. UX really, to remind you, it sits in the center of this kind of technology, business, and design output. And we understand how to convert business requirements, the stuff that businesses are asking us to do, into broader user experiences. And it's not a simple ABC output, but the relationship of translating these kind of things really helps us show how paying attention to the business and the user and the technology and the way it looks, and the way it feels, and how the user is engaging in it, and the broader spectrum of that all add up to relating how we can narrow down into what was successful about that requirement or not. Because when we work with businesses, they'll have things that maybe aren't as defined as a piece of functionality on a website. Now, non-functional requirements are not really requirements that need constraints, but they can be gathered in order to kind of hear what your business is trying to get accomplished. Now, stakeholders may have many needs, many outputs, but the project overview starts to weed out what the web or what the app or whatever that thing can do, and what are things that are kind of broader, like it should make users feel good. Well, that's a non-functional requirement, but key to what a user experience, right? But there's ways at which to boil functionality and interaction and features that could apply to that non-functional requirement. But you want to make sure that you're drawing a distinction between what you can test and what you can't. And we'll continue to kind of work on this as we continue to go. Now, for us, when thinking about requirements, there's an opportunity to ask our stakeholders what their needs are, parse out the services that are maybe required in building a website and what that does, and then we get into the real kind of nitty-gritty of components, aspects of functionality, aspects of features, and we build use cases and relationships and stories around where that starts to answer to those requirements. But all the while, if we have a good requirement that has clear outputs and has defined tech features and functionality in a website or in an app, we can then quickly move from unknown requirement into user interface or solution that's there. So let's continue to get excited about what we're going to be improving on learning our business side.